change the circumstances that they grew up in. Can't see anything. This is one of my favorite quotes. We can't change the cards that we were dealt, but we can change how we play our hand. And one thing we all have in common up here as speakers, top leaders, people who cross the stage as 6A and above today, is none of us could control the cards that we were dealt, but we've all decided to change the way we play our hand. And so I know something about each and every one of you in this room today. You believe in change, and you're willing to do what is necessary and required to change your life, right? Amazing. Now, today I want to talk to you about ancestry and lineage and what that means when it comes to Enagic. You see, typically we think about lineage and ancestry when it comes to our parents and our grandparents. So let's look at all the people who've come before us to give us the opportunity to be here right now today. We know that we need 2 parents, right? And 2 grandparents on each side. And when we keep going back, it actually took 256 ancestors, 128 on your mother's side and 128 on your father's side to bring you into this room today. 2 to the power of 8 is 256. Now when it comes to Enagic, you are the ancestor of your -8 linealogy. What happens when you start this business is you duplicate generations for 6A2, but it doesn't have to take you 20 to 30 years to procreate like it normally does, right? Kids grow up, they get married, they have kids, there's 20 to 30 years in between. So in this business, we get to procreate in the business by duplication in a much smaller time frame. And some of you in this room today feel like it's taking you so much longer than you want it to. But even if it took you your entire life, and you're able to achieve this and duplicate 8 generations deep, wouldn't that be incredible to move your family, to move your lineage forward? Yeah? It's amazing, right? It doesn't have to take 20 to 30 years for each generation. In fact, my organization in 11 years, we're already 6 generations deep. So shout out to all of you in GPM, what's up? Amazing. So we're a mere reflection of these things that we're used to when it comes to our duplication, and as above, so below. We're mirror reflections of this. And this is how I built my business. This is how I felt confident to know what I was able to create long term. Now, Enagic is also a generational company. We've been talking a lot about this over the day today and the last couple of days of what Mr. and Mrs. Oshiro have created for all of us. And this is a passing of the torch. And it's a changing of the guard. It's really, really important. Sorry, my bad. I'm just gonna go right into this part now. But my story, when we look at the cards that I was dealt, I was basically set up to fail like so many people before they found Enagic. My mother worked 3 jobs. I like to say she worked 25 hours a day because she didn't have any time left over. Shout out, Mom. Where's Mom? I don't know where she is. I love you. My father worked construction, but planting seeds about network marketing. My parents always thought that network marketing would allow us to have a better life, but they never found success. But as I was growing up as a kid, I saw these glimpses of opportunities they tried, and I started to believe in what was possible with this industry. But what if I told you that 2 things removed from my body, removed from my life, actually gave me all the fulfillment that I now have? And those 2 things are, my gallbladder being cut out is what led us to Enagic, and the tip of my finger was cut off in a sawmill accident when I was 16 years old, and I swore to never work with power tools and construction ever again because of that accident. And if those 2 things wouldn't have happened, we wouldn't have found Enagic as a product, and I would have probably still been in construction working physical labor like I saw my father do. My mother was searching Western medicine for an answer, and when my gallbladder was removed and it failed and it didn't work, she started to look east. Japan, Eastern medicine, Eastern philosophy is what actually gave us the solution we were looking for. And the water kept coming up as we did our research, and funny enough, it was a competitor's website that was talking negatively about Enagic that actually introduced us to this company initially. So a lot of our prospects out there, when they find negative things online, it's actually what led us here. It was a blessing. And we ended up discovering a friend online who gave us the water, and things started to get better. Now this is my why, my beautiful family. My wife, she's right here, my beautiful wife, my daughter, Valentina. And the whole reason I started this business was so I could be a present father and be present with my children and live life on our terms of freedom. And we just found out recently, some of you may have seen, that I'm expecting my son in October this year. Now you are being passed the torch, whether you use it to light the way or you use it to burn down the house, that is up to you. And every generation, typically when we see people out there in society, they're very similar to their parents. It's almost like the cycle continues to repeat, right? But with Enagic, what's so beautiful is that when you hit 682-3 and you hit that legacy position, Enagic literally plants a tree in your honor. But previously, our parents actually would have the tree cut when they passed away, and we'd have to start over again as a seed. With Enagic, you get to pass the garden forward and continue generation after generation. Who here has heard this quote before? The credit belongs to the one who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly. If they fail, at least they fail while daring greatly, so that their place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. You are literally the ones in the arena. So take a look at the people to your left and to your right, look them in the eyes. You guys are the ones daring greatly, and you guys are the ones making it happen. So huge round of applause for you guys. Now our parents sacrificed so much to give us this opportunity of where we are today. We need to always remember their sacrifices. My mom worked 3 jobs. My dad passed away at 54 from cancer, and he worked his entire life to just give us a better opportunity, to give us hope, and brought us to Canada where there were more opportunities than back home in Europe. So we're in the arena because our parents brought us to this door. And if you can remember this, you'll have such a bigger impact passing it on to your generation for your kids and their kids. Now, one of my quotes that I learned about early in my 20s was that most people die at 25 and they aren't buried until they're 80. What does that mean? Up until age 25, I believe that we grow in these 5-year windows. And that growth is happening regardless. When you're a baby from 0 to 5, think about how many things a child has to learn in their development, from 5 to 10 and so on. But at 25, growth becomes optional. And a lot of people stop choosing to grow. But all of you here in this room, despite your age, you're constantly choosing to grow. You're putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. You're challenging yourself. You're making mistakes. You're failing your way to success. And I think that's really beautiful. So congratulations to all of you. Now, who in this room has been in this business for 5 years and they feel like not much has happened right so far? Okay, if you know my story, you know that for 5 years, I actually had no sales in my Enagic business either. And I drank the water and it was amazing. But during those 5 years, I was developing my roots. I went and did something else in door-to-door sales. I was developing my mindset. I was starting to read personal development, but nothing was showing on the surface. So for those of you that are in this room that are in a similar situation, your growth is happening below the surface. The roots are taking shape. And sometimes we compare ourselves to other people who seem to get off to a really fast start in this business. They've simply paid their dues prior to joining Enagic, and they transplanted that personal growth into this company, and they've already paid their 5 years. For me, it took 11 months to hit 6A, but I did 4 years of door-to-door sales, so I also paid the dues of my 5 years. Now, nature is a leveraged ecosystem, and Enagic is a regenerative structure. And once you understand this, everything comes full circle back to you. So you're developing your roots, but it's quite literally from person to person, globally, and your roots start to be your distributor force and your global community, and it continues to spread and spread and spread, just like roots do underground. This is another interesting quote that really made me see the potential of network marketing and high ticket sales and direct sales. It says, I'd rather have 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own efforts. And that's very much how the Enagic business organization works over time. For me, we do tens of millions of dollars in sales every quarter, and maybe 1% gets paid to me and my family in bonuses and so forth. But that 1% is more than enough for anything I've ever dreamed of from a lifestyle standpoint, to give back for my family and so on, because everybody is doing their 1% and contributing. We're quite literally crowdfunding freedom. These two quotes also really helped me see what the whole bigger picture was. First one says, from Zig Ziglar, rest in peace, you can have everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people get what they want. And when I look at my life today, I have everything I want, but it's in direct correlation with thousands upon thousands of people living the life that they've always desired and dreamed of, and I think that's really beautiful. The next one is all around what you're willing to do in the short term to sacrifice for the long term. Most people are not willing to work hard enough for a short period of time to create that energy, that momentum to really have their business take off. But if you're willing to do what most people won't, you're going to be able to live the rest of your life like most people won't. Another really interesting concept is around time. We all have 168 hours per week as a max if you worked flat out, didn't sleep, didn't do anything else. And that's our cap. But if you have an Enagic business and you have 10 people who are each putting in, 17 people who are each putting in 10 hours per week part-time, you've broken through something that millions and millions of people around the world will never break through, and that's called leverage. And once you have a team of 17 plus contributing over 168 hours, things start to get really, really exciting with this business model. Bill Britt is a legend in the network marketing industry in another company. And I remember when I was first getting started, I saw this quote, and I thought about it, and I said, there is no secret. So I simply showed the plan to 1,200 people. 900 said no, only 300 signed up. And out of those 300, only 85 did anything at all. Out of those 85, 35 were serious, and out of those 35, 11 made me a millionaire. When I first discovered this, it was back 8 years ago. I was doing a water demo downtown at a lounge that was closed. And I'd pack my machine, I'd get all dressed up, I'd put the machine in my trunk of my car, I'd have to drive downtown, rain or shine, and often there was only a handful of people that showed up to this club to watch me do the demo, show the presentation, all that stuff. One day I got asked to do a webinar. I didn't even know what that was. Like, what is that? They're like, oh, it's an online thing. You just like open your computer and you talk to people. I was like, what? This is so awesome, let's do that. So I was laying on the couch at home in my boxers, and it was 15 minutes before the call was starting, and I kind of started laughing. I'm like, I don't need to put any pants on, right? No one's gonna know. So I decided to stay in my boxers, did this presentation, and when I logged onto the software I've never used before, the numbers started to climb. The attendees started to climb. And we actually had 1,200 people on this webinar. While I'm in my boxers, nobody could see. And that night, the host, Ray, went 6A in his first webinar, and I was in my boxers. I know I keep saying that, but it's a big deal, right? And it blew my mind. When I walked into the kitchen, talked to my wife, I said, baby, everything just changed. We entered the online era. And when you think about technology, it speeds things up dramatically. So the question to you is, how long has it taken you to show 1,200 people this business? Have you already showed 1,200? Have you only showed a handful? Because you can show people so fast with technology, and that's what we continue to do to this day. And that's the power of one. You could have one person, one webinar, one interaction, one business partner indirectly blow everything up for you and completely transform your life. And that's what we're all looking to create here. That's what we're all striving towards and building towards. Now I have a question for you. Would you rather have $3 million right now, cash, or would you want a penny doubled a day for the next 30 days? Who wants A, $3 million right now? Hands up. You guys are liars. Right? I'll take $3 million. Or penny doubled for 30 days, option B. Now, here's what's really interesting about Enagic, is that even though it may not happen in 14 days, this is a really good representation of slow growth initially. In my first year in Enagic, I only had 80 product sales the first year. And this went up to about $60 in 14 days. So it doesn't look too exciting. But by day 30, that exponential growth kicked in, and you actually end up finishing with $5 million because of the compound effect starting right there at day 26. So your business may feel very slow, just a handful of sales here, a handful of sales there. But if you persist in that compounding, you give that time, this is possible. This is what happened to my GPM Enagic organization. Check out the arrow there. It didn't seem too crazy, but once we broke through that gray line, the exponential growth curve, we've stayed on the other side of that ever since. So, huge round of applause to everybody in GPM. Amazing work, congratulations, thank you. That's pretty wild. So on the way up, you'll ask yourself on the way up if the pain of the climb is worth it. And a lot of you right now had to sacrifice a lot. Who here had to overcome insane adversity to be in this room today? Had to borrow money from a friend, maybe rack up on credit card debt, book a last minute flight. Anybody? Feeling guilty for leaving the kids at home? Anybody? You're gonna ask yourself this question, you're gonna beat yourself up, you're gonna wonder if you're doing the right thing. But when you hit the exponential growth curve, you'll know it was worth it. Now we're gonna do a changing the guard, guys. So, cue the music, please. This torch, this legacy was started by Mr. and Mrs. Oshiro. And I want you to take out your phones real quick. I don't have mine on me. Take out your phones and put your torchlight on, please. Come on, everybody. Everybody, let's see those lights. Turn a torchlight on. Look around. Light, like Enagic, is exponential. One candle can light up a darkened room. There's darkness in this world, and the world needs our light. So I want you guys to close your eyes right now. We're going to officially do the changing of the guard, passing of the torch. Close your eyes, and when I say what I'm about to say, if you feel it in your body, if you feel it in your heart, all I want you to say to confirm it, loud and proud, is I am. All right, ready? You are being passed this torch. Who is being passed the torch? There we go. Let's go. And this torch is now in your hands. It has been carried for the past 50 years by all the legacy leaders, the people who've come before you, Mr. and Mrs. Oshiro, and it's being passed into your hands now. Whose hand is it being passed to? I messed that up. You are the ones that are going to carry this forward. Who is the one that's going to carry this forward? Who's going to carry this torch to create the life that we all want our children to raise in? Who's going to carry the torch that's going to allow our family and our children to live the way we've always desired? Who's going to carry Enagic through to the diamond decade that's going to completely transform the world, hydrate everybody, create freedom and legacy? Who's going to do that? Let's do it together. Thank you.